Hey, I hope everybody can see me. This is Emily Quisenberry, and I'm going to enable the chat. Welcome to the webinar tonight. The chat is over on your right-hand side of your screen. There's going to be a place where you can just type. So please type in and let me know that you can hear me and you can see me. Been a little bit of technical difficulty tonight. I know the background where I am right now looks different for those of you who have been on before, but where there is a will, there is a way. And we entrepreneurs know that, don't we? We run into roadblocks and obstacles, and we have to figure out how to get around them, over them, through them, or bust a hole right through them, right? And at my house this afternoon, all of a sudden my Wi-Fi is like going in and out, in and out, in and out. It's kind of been doing that over the last couple of days. And so I don't know what's going on, but so basically we had no Wi-Fi. So I ended up having to come to my parents' house, who live about 10 minutes away, and I'm set up in my dad's office right now. So they live out in the country, so you can kind of see out the window. This is where I grew up, spent all my growing up years here. So hey, Julie, good to see you. Glad you're on tonight. Let me take care of a couple of little housekeeping things that I need to take care of. I hope everybody's had a great day today and has done some income producing activity, because we know that's what it's all about. So I think I am good to go. Okay, awesome. So looks like we've got a good amount of people on tonight. So please step out and say hello. And guys, the chat is a great place as we go through the webinar tonight, for you to type in any questions, thoughts, comments that you might have. I do want this to be interactive. There's a place actually where you can raise your hand as well on that little control pad. So I recommend that you use that as well. If you know, I'll be checking the chat as we go through tonight, because I want this to be, again, about you. I want this to help you. So I titled this, I changed the title after I kind of did my ad. I don't know what brought you here tonight, if you're already on my list, or if you are, if you found this through a Facebook ad, but I decided to change the title after the fact to how to make the phone not feel like it weighs 1,000 pounds. I think most people in home business, network marketing, know what that kind of feels like. We've had that emotion before. So I am going to go ahead and jump on into the training, and just bear with me, because I am a little discombobulated being out of my normal element. Normally I would have my notes. I didn't even have a chance to print those off. Normally I would have my little clicker to make my PowerPoint go, and I'm not going to have that. I'm going to be having to do it manually. So you know, we just are going to do the best we can, right? And that's what we have to do sometimes. So I just appreciate y'all's time. And again, my intent is to really pour value into this presentation. Hey, Bruce. Nice to have you. I'm so glad that you're here tonight. And my hope is that you will get some awesome value. Hey, Julie, type in the chat and let me know if you see my screen with it saying welcome. I'm going to wait for somebody to give me the heads up that they can see my screen that says welcome, and then we will get moving. Welcome. If you just popped on, let us know that you're here. I'd love to know some of the cities people are getting on the webinar, where you're from. So I'm seeing a lot of new names. I'm loving that. Hey, Vicky, see you, and Julie and Margaret. Awesome. Awesome. Julie says yes. So we're good to go. Okay. So welcome, guys. Like I said, tonight is about really facing your fears. And I think in home business, most people have that obstacle at some point. Now, it may not be something that derails you completely, but I do think it's definitely something worth talking about. So Is fear holding you back from enrolling and recruiting to build a profitable business? Discover how a seasoned home business owner annihilated her fear to build a profitable business. And this morning, this training will remove the crippling fear of talking to people. So if that's what you're after, that's what I want to help you with tonight. So I want to just share a little bit before we get going about who I am. And I'm Emily Quisenberry. I'm a wife of 22 years and a mom to 3 amazing kids. And there's my family. We love the beach. That's part of my big why, is to really be able to spend more time there with my family, doing the things we love. This is us just here recently at Easter. My family was all together. So we had a picture. We got our picture made out in our backyard under our beautiful blooming crossvine. I'm a serial entrepreneur and a 9-to-5 job rebel. I have 20 years of experience in old school network marketing, and absolutely love this profession. Here I am actually speaking on stage at my company event in September, which is actually a pretty cool story. I'll just quickly tell you, I had just joined this company in February of last year after really making a move, which, you know, sometimes we have to do. Sometimes we're in a company that maybe isn't serving us well anymore. It's not a place where we fit and we need to move on. And I did that with a lot of heavy consideration, but was really honored that after just 6 months of being in the company, I was actually awarded the #4 recruiter in my company. And that was me accepting my award, which was a pretty amazing thing. Yeah, absolutely blown away by that. There I am after getting it with the founders of the company. In 2013, guys, I decided to expand my business online because I knew that there was an unlimited pool of prospects there. And I really wanted to learn how to leverage the internet. And I spent over $13,000 and 18 months to learn how to do this. And I'm still in the process of learning. And what you're going to find when you plug into my trainings, and if you aren't on my blog, if you're not on my list yet, guys, I'm going to give you an opportunity with that here in a little bit. So stay around till the end to get that information. But I share all the time that this business is really about investing, and it can be our time or our money or both, learning, testing what we learn, adjusting, making adjustments based off of our results, and then repeating. Now, you can stick another little activity in there between adjusting and repeating, and that would be teaching. So once you've learned something, guys, and you've tested it, and you've made some adjustments, teach it. Turn around and teach it. That's how you can pour value out into the market. You don't have to be in home business for over 20 years to be able to pour value into the market. If you've been in home business for a week, you can pour value into people who this is their first day. And there's people coming into home business by the thousands day after day. Here I am at an event actually that I won. I won it for being a top affiliate for a product launch of my friend Tanya, who brought a course out last year. And I was actually able to go to this mansion, y'all. It was the coolest thing ever. It was for 2.5 days. And I was able to sit with top marketers. I don't know if you recognize any of the faces in that picture, but there are some really successful people in that picture. And it was really amazing to get to be around that caliber of person, that kind of leader, really. And it really inspired me to just to continue that growth, because guys, that's what it's about. It's about continuing to grow. So I love that picture because I just feel very honored that I had the opportunity, and so grateful that I had the opportunity to do that. So I actually do have a passion to change lives, and I really want to help you sidestep the pain, the difficulty, and the expense that I have experienced. Now, we're all going to have those kinds of experiences, but if you can learn and apply what you learn, it's going to help you from people who have been there and done it. And that's what I continue to do. I continue to look for people who are ahead of me, and I look at them. I learn it, I turn around and teach it to people who may be behind me on the journey. And that's what I encourage you to do. So, is fear holding you hostage? Now, we know, and again, I love webinars, I do, but I also miss the just the connectedness that we could be having if we were having a conversation, whether it was in person or on the phone. But this does serve such a great purpose because it allows us to be connected and to really do some really great training. So I would love to know, though, by a show of hands, guys, I'm going to check back on the chat. Can you tell me, if you raise your hand and tell me, has fear ever held you hostage in your business where you have not gotten on the phone, you've not made the phone calls, you've not done what you knew you needed to do because of fear? Does anybody relate to that? And if you can't find that raising the hands, then you can just type in the chat if somebody wants to be brave enough to say, because I'll just tell you right now, I'm raising my hand. I have definitely let fear hold me hostage. And truthfully, not just did fear hold me hostage, but I actually walked away from a business because of fear. It wasn't the only component, but it was a very large component. And it took me a long time to admit that. I had actually a lot of success in this company that I was in the early 2000s, and I kind of, once I got through my warm market and had kind of exhausted the friends of friends and that kind of thing. Oh, thank you for your honesty there, Julie. That's awesome. And I can relate. I got to a point where I had to make a choice in this company, what I was going to do and how was I going to move beyond where I was. And I really wasn't willing to do what it took. Now, there were some other things going on at the same time that I needed to deal with. And we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight in talking about the fear. But I just want you to know that if you're feeling that, I have totally felt that way too. And so if you too, okay, awesome. A couple people raised their hands. Great. Thank you guys. Thank you, Vicki. Yeah. And I've been there. So my encouragement to you and my affirmation to you guys is that way to go for being on here. Way to go for being transparent and admitting it. That's really a lot of the battle. It's really recognizing that and then being able to admit it and then figuring out what you have to do to get beyond it. And we're going to talk about some things tonight, some strategies and some things that have really helped me and just in the learning process of learning about fear. Because you know what? It really can. I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but have you ever been sitting, at your desk or in your living room? Thanks, Bruce, for that honesty. And oh, guys, I'm so sorry. The phone is ringing. Again, I'm at my parents' house, so that would not normally be happening at mine. But and that's gonna, hold on, guys. That's gonna distract me like crazy. I wonder if I can show it. Yeah, I think I just muted it. And I kind of lost my train of thought. So, have you ever been sitting at your phone or wherever you're sitting, getting ready to make phone calls, and you literally feel like your heart is about to pound out of your chest? I mean, I've definitely felt that way. And it's an interesting thing. And we're going to talk about that here in just a minute. I've even felt like I was going to throw up. I've been like and it may not have just been about phone calls. There's other aspects of our business, right, that we can get that way about. But I think for most people, especially when you're first getting started, how many of you guys are in your business? Maybe this is your first few months. How many people are in their business and this is 6 months or less that you've been in your business? I'm going to clear out the hands. So if you want to raise your hand, you can absolutely do that, or you can type in the chat. So who's been in their business for less than 6 months? And then maybe type in the chat if you've been in your business, less than 12 months, 6 to 12 months. Because what I have found, truthfully, in being in business for as long as I have, getting a lot of people started, right? Helping people who say, yep, I'm ready to get this business going, getting started training, equipping them with what they need, and then nothing happens. Why is that? Why does that happen? Well, I think a lot of it is because fear comes in and grips people. And we're going to talk about that here in just a minute, about why. So I'll pop back over and check on that in just a minute. But so let's talk about the brain. And we're going to kind of start with a little bit of physiology, okay, and anatomy. And I don't want this to bore you at all. I actually think it's quite fascinating. But when we do something new, anything new, our brain releases a chemical. And it could be that you're going to go cliff diving. Let's say you're in Hawaii and you're going to go cliff diving. If you've never done that before, your brain is going to release this chemical. If you are starting your own business and you're going to make phone calls to begin to market your business to your warm market, and you've never done that before, your brain is going to release a chemical. If you climb up on a ladder really, really high, let's say, to go do something, and you've never done that before, your brain is going to release a chemical. And what that chemical does is it actually tells our body, and our body interprets that chemical as fear, apprehension, doubt, and uncertainty. And the reason it does that is because it's warning us, okay? And our response when we face something new that we've never done before, our response is to freeze, slow down, or back up. But the good news is that's a normal response. So the truth is, when we're going to do something new, our body warns us that this could hurt you. This could cause you pain. This could cause you to, really it could, our brain is there to tell us, to protect us. And so when we do that new thing, that's where we have to take the rational part of our brain when we're facing something, especially that we know is not going to hurt us. Okay. And that's the challenge. It's when we are doing our home business. And guys, there's really only 5 steps, 5 skills that you need to really work on mastering over the next 3 to 5 years in your journey. That's inviting, presenting, validating. I'm so sorry, I lost my train of thought because I can hear things going on in the other room. Enrolling people or putting them on a follow-up system if they're not ready to enroll, and then getting new people started. That's really the 5 things. Now, let me ask you a question. Are any of those things, could they hurt you? I just want you to answer in your head. Could any of those things physically hurt you and cause you harm? No, they really can't. And so that's the challenge. It's learning to realize, okay, I'm doing something new. It's my brain's job to warn me that I'm doing it so that I make sure that it's nothing that can hurt me. So we have to understand that beyond that chemical response. So once we do that, once we understand the chemical part of it and the brain part of it, any other fear, because that, I'm just going to tell you, that in and of itself is probably not going to remove the fear. At least it hasn't for me. But understanding it does help. Because now that I have dealt with the deeper issues of the fear, and I still get that fear feeling sometimes, I'm not going to lie. Absolutely. I have to remember, oh, that's a chemical response. It's my body telling me I haven't ever done this before. Okay. Just checking the chat. So basically, if we have any fear, that fear is rooted in stories. And what I mean by that is it's stories that we tell ourselves. And we're going to go more into this, okay? Who talks to us the most? Whose voice do each of us hear the very most? It's our own, right? And we're telling ourselves stories all the time about the way we interpret things that happen to us and around us. And we do it all the time. We have like 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day. And most of them, guys, are negative. And most of them are repetitive. Things we've told ourselves day after day, week after week, month after month. So the stories that we tell ourselves either come from an experience in our past that we had happen, whether it was growing up or in our young adulthood or even in our grown adult years, or what somebody else said about us, okay? Maybe when we were younger. And we have to learn to reframe those stories, because we can make up a story that's not even really true. And at that point, we have to turn around and say, you know what? I have to make up a new story. I have to make up a story that's actually based in truth. So Oops, that one should not be coming up. So sorry. So that's what happens sometimes on a PowerPoint. But we're going to talk about kind of the process of our thoughts and our fears. Okay. So we all experience events, right? And they all happen in our environment. So our environment actually has it actually creates our perception. Okay, so our environment that we're in creates our perception. Our perception creates our thoughts. Our thoughts creates our feelings, and then our feelings create the actions that we're willing to take or not take. Okay, so if we had a negative story spinning around in our head, then our perception is going to impact our thoughts, which is going to make them negative or scarce or fearful, which is going to affect our feelings and make us actually feel that way, anxious, worried, fearful. And then it's going to affect the actions that we're willing to take or not take. So if you're sitting there holding the phone, needing to make a phone call, and you're believing a story about yourself from your past environment that you've been in, or maybe it's even your current environment, it's going to affect your perception, your thoughts, and your feelings, and it's probably going to keep you hostage from making that phone call. So let's look at it in reverse. So my actions that I'm willing to take are determined by my feelings, which are determined by my thoughts, which is determined by my perception, which is determined by my environment. Guys, that for me was so eye-opening when I realized that my environment is so powerful. You know, in network marketing, we talk a lot about the people that you hang out with, right? The 5 top people that you spend the most time with. And do you know why we talk about that? It's because of this picture right here. Our environment is so powerful to what we believe. And I'm going to tell you guys, I struggled. And the reason I walked away from that business was I struggled so much at that time with things from my past that affected my perception, my thoughts, my feelings, which then ultimately affected my actions. And I did not feel like I was so performance-based in how I felt about myself that if I didn't perform the way I thought I should, and I'm a perfectionist and I'm driven. So if I didn't perform, then to me, that was failure. And to somebody that's a performance-based person who wanted to be perfectionistic, the thought of failing was more than I could handle. And so it would chip away at me enough that I didn't want to take it anymore. But the truth is, it wasn't really failure. That's a lie in and of itself that we've told ourselves, is that for some reason, if somebody says no to us, or we have somebody who says, I'm not interested, or somebody gets started and then they stop, or somebody returns their products, for some reason, we take that as personal and as failure. And it's not. That is absolutely not failure. What is failure in our business is quitting. Now, do I feel bad about myself for walking away from that business? No, it was part of the journey, guys, I needed to take. And I'm grateful for it because it brought me to where I am now. And I don't know that I needed to deal with some stuff. I needed to deal with some stuff from my past environment to really help change my perception, my thoughts, my feelings, and ultimately the actions that I was willing to take. So the main fears I find that home business owners face are the fear of failing. Okay, so we talked about that already a little bit. That's where I'm going to really encourage you. And I've already mentioned this once tonight in the training, but this is where you have to reframe that this business, we talked about the 5 skills that you need to master over the next 3 to 5 years. Well, now we're going to talk about the process by which we're going to go through every single thing we do from this day forward in our business. We're going to invest our time and our money. You are investing your time right now, learning to better yourself, which is going to help you change your environment, which is going to change your perception, your thoughts, your feelings, and ultimately your actions. Now, you're learning. So you've invested your time, you're learning. Now what you're going to do is you're going to test. And testing, all that means is you're going to go out and try it. You're going to go out and do something in response to what you learn. Okay? All you're going to do after you've tested it is you're going to notice your results. Okay? And I'll just tell you, I'm in the process of doing that right now. I'm pretty new to doing webinars, and I started doing them, and I'm learning. I am testing every week. I'm testing material. I'm testing the way I promote it and market it. And I'm noticing, how's that working? Is it working effectively or is it not? And guess what? If it's not working effectively, that doesn't mean I'm failing. That doesn't say anything about me, except for that I'm doing what I know to do to get better. Okay. And after you test and you notice your results, then you're going to make those tweaks. You're going to make those adjustments. So let's talk about, and then after that, you're going to repeat. So it's invest, learn, test, adjust, repeat. And if you will make that the mantra that you focus on in every activity that you're doing, there's not a good learning experience or a bad learning experience. That's what Eric Worre says. He says it's just learning. And that's true. But the story that we're bringing from somewhere in our past, that when we don't do it perfect, or when we have somebody say no to us, that's failure. And that's a story, and it's a lie. It's not the truth. Okay, let's look at the fear of rejection. I think this is another big one. And I find with home business owners, especially in the beginning of their business, I'm going to grab a drink of water real quick. I think this is the hardest one for most people in the beginning, especially when they're talking to their warm market. If they don't have full confidence in what they're doing. I actually had a blog post today that I've gotten amazing feedback on. And I know, Margaret, you sent me a really nice message about that. And I've had lots of other people, but it was really on the number one thing that we need, the number one skill that we need in our business. And I'm going to really encourage you to go to the blog, emilyquisenberry.com, and check that out, because it talks about that. But there's really 5 areas that we need to have a really strong belief in our business. Our product, our company, our comp plan, network marketing, and ourself. And when we have that really strong belief, right, if we're a 10 in all those areas, and all 5 of those areas, which again, I did another blog post on that, that you can check out. But if you're a 10 in all 5 of those areas, guess what, guys? You are 10 feet tall and bulletproof. And so people telling you no is no big deal. But I'm going to tell you, there's some days, even though I feel 10 feet tall and bulletproof, there's some days that no's just not fun to hear. And I have to reframe my brain to say, Emily, that is not them rejecting you. That is them rejecting what you're offering. And that's 2 totally different things. We realize, guys, when you get into this business, that it is about talking to a lot of people. It is. But I will promise you that if you will commit to the process of learning and learning those 5 skills, plugging into the process that we've talked about, it's going to actually take you, as you get better and better, less and less people to talk to get a positive result, because you're going to get better at it. So the fear of rejection, I find with new people, can be overwhelming, because they don't want their warm market to think they're crazy. And it's true. When you start a network marketing business, and guys, I'm here to tell you the truth. Okay. I just am, because I don't want to sugarcoat anything. But what I can say is that you might lose a little bit of social credibility in the beginning when you start a business. It's part of the nature of the beast. People don't understand compound capitalism. We live in a world of 99%ers who, and I'm not being negative or degrading about people that have a 9-to-5. I'm just saying it's a different mindset. And so when you step out of the norm into something new, right, it makes people uncomfortable. And so they may reject you initially, but I'm going to tell you, the very best way to deal with that is go be successful. Because I'm going to tell you that when you start to make the money, those people who may have given you a hard time and may have quote unquote rejected you initially will jump into your business like rats jumping off a sinking ship. That's just the way it goes. So this fear of rejection, I really work with new team members on my team to help them share with their warm market in a way that they don't feel like they're putting a lot of expectation on their family and friends. And we work on that language. I work a lot with my team on language and verbiage and how to approach people and how to, it's part of it stepping out. You got to step out of that comfort zone. Because remember, when we bump up against that comfort zone, when we bump up against doing something new, our brain's going to tell us, whoops, 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 don't do that. Don't do that. That's new. You might get hurt. But then it's our job to reframe that and say, nope, there is nothing that could happen in this conversation that could hurt me. Because I'm not going to fail. I'm just testing, and I'm going to notice what my results are. It's not about anybody rejecting me. They may not want what I have, but that doesn't affect who I am. Okay. The third, what other people think. And I think that one goes along with the rejection aspect, that rejection fear. But there's people, guys, that we are all, as humans, we are motivated by different things. And some people, the motivation of what other people think is really, really important to them. Other people, like I shared me, it was very important to have my performance and to know that I was doing, like I was perfect. And of course, we know we live in this world. We're not going to be perfect. Some people, guys, even fear success. And I know that sounds crazy, but there are people who will sabotage their own success. They could be on a really good track in their business. They could be going really well and things moving along, but all of a sudden, boom, they bump up against that comfort zone of, wow, I've never achieved this kind of success before. And then all of a sudden, this massive amount of fear and anxiety. And I'll tell you, that actually happened in that business that I was in. I think that it was the bumping up against that threshold of my comfort zone, number one, coupled with my perfectionistic, performance-based feelings about myself, coupled with the stories I was telling myself. And I know you may be thinking, wow, this is like super deep stuff, and this wasn't what I was thinking this was going to be at all. But guys, I am sharing this kind of deeper stuff because this has changed my life. This has absolutely, over the last 8 years, I've done a complete 180. I am in a totally new, wonderful place where I don't fear picking up the phone. I don't fear rejection. I don't fear failing. I don't fear what other people think about me. But it's taken work. And I don't want you to mishear me on that. It has taken me working and continuing to work on my mind, on reframing, on telling myself new stories, rejecting the old stories that didn't serve me. So let's get honest. Avoidance and procrastination in our business is just fear. And I don't know about y'all, but I can find a million things to do if I am fearful. Right? I can figure out everything that needs to be done in my office. I can find out everything that needs to be done in my house. And I convince myself that, oh, that stuff has to happen now. I don't know if anybody can relate to that. I just want to check the chat real quick. No comments. Okay. So that's just really fear. It's being disguised as fear. And we have to recognize that. And there's definitely ways within your day to structure your day to help with that. But I think we have to get to that deeper place because we really have to look at our beliefs about ourselves, like I was sharing with you. And I think 2 false beliefs that are pervasive in our world, really. And I've seen it so much in myself and then in helping other people is, number 1, who I am is based on how I perform. I shared that with you. Number 2, who I am is based on what others think of me. And when we have that as our foundation of how we feel about ourselves, guys, that's really shaky. Do you see that? If we don't perform well, then we feel like we're a failure. If somebody thinks less of us or rejects something we're giving them, we're going to think that about ourselves. And so it's a very shaky foundation, and that's not where our foundation should be in our belief about ourselves. Every story that we do believe about ourselves has been created over our lifetime. And so it's a process. It's a process of creating new stories and telling ourselves the truth about who we are. So can we change this blueprint that we have? Well, I think the first thing we have to do is understand how important our environment is. If you are in a negative, I've never heard a phone ring so much in my life. If you're in a negative environment now, or if you were in a negative environment in your past, guys, that has an impact on us. It just does. And that's why it's very important to surround ourselves. And, sometimes I can remember Eric Worre telling this story. I have a fantastic training of his. It's like 8 hours long. And he's talking about when he was young and he started in network marketing and about the stories that he had believed about himself and about, kind of just that junk we all kind of bring into our adulthood. And he was saying that his friends that he had in his life at 23 years old were all partying and, they weren't the positive, uplifting, wise leader type people. So the people he hung out with were his cassette tapes. Some of you guys may have heard him talk about that, but he had cassette tapes of Jim Rohn and, Brian Tracy and, I can't even remember some of the other names. Oh, Napoleon Hill. And Dale Carnegie. And those are the things that he listened to. Those were his friends because that's what elevated him. That's what helped him to change the stories that he had been telling himself his whole life. We have to recognize that our fear is based on a story that we created. And you know what, guys? This is powerful. I learned this about a year ago when I really finally dealt with that total performance-based lie that I had been believing about myself, that who I was based in my performance. And I had to get angry. I had to get really angry at the story and at the lie that I was believing, not at myself, not at anybody else, but at that story. And then I had to learn how to take every thought captive because our brain is so powerful and it continues to think things, right? Like I said, we talk to ourselves all day long. Most of what we talk about is negative and most of it's repeated from the day before. That's just fact. So it's learning and being aware of how to take those thoughts when they come and capturing them and then replacing it with the truth. And I think I go into it in just a second, but maybe I don't. Some ways to, I can't remember what my next slide is. So I'm going to just look on here real quick, guys. Just give me a second. Okay, first of all, I'm going to go back just a second. So I want you to just recognize that, number 2, that your fear is based on that story that we created. And what I've learned is that if we will attach a negative picture or a visualization of how your fear is robbing you of the life that you were created to live, it can be a very powerful visualization that can really impact you. So let me give you the example, and it's an amazing example from my own life that I just thank God for, because I think it really was a turning point for me. So last year I was dealing with this in early 2014, right before I shifted into my new company. Again, amazing timing. And I was working with a guy, because down here on number 5, you can see where it says get professional help. But I was working with a guy, a coach, a counselor, and we were talking through some of this. And he said, Emily, you have to get a negative picture attached to that lie that you're believing, that your performance dictates your worth. And so he gave me his that he had used in his own life. And I was like, okay, well, I can use that. Well, about 2 days later, after I had this conversation with him, it was a Saturday afternoon. We're sitting in our house and we hear this bubbling, gurgling noise. I'm actually washing clothes. And I go back into the back part of the house, and guys, our entire sewage system was backing up in our house, like in my tub, in my shower. And you can only imagine how horrific and nasty and disgusting in my beautiful home that I loved so much, this putrid sewage was invading it. Well, I'm a little slow sometimes, so it took me a couple of weeks to really realize the gift that God had given me in that story, that sewage is how I needed to see that lie in my own life, and that how it was affecting the beauty of how I was created, and the value that I have, and the uh, just how God created me. And so it's been such a shift for me to be able to know that my performance is a lie. I mean, how I perform is not going to dictate my worth. And so that freedom that came from that, and really being able to attach that visualization of that nasty putrid sewage ruining my beautiful home, and being able to say, Emily, that's what that lie that you've believed all these years has done in your life. It's been powerful, because I do believe that network marketing, guys, is one of the very best, if not the best ways to really rise to your full potential, to become who you were created to be on this earth. So getting professional help can be a really wise thing to do. It can really help if you get somebody good that can walk you through some of that stuff. I'm not saying spend your life there. I'm not saying go back and rehash out everything. I don't know what your story is, but I just know in my life, working with a coach over the last 8 years off and on has been just a game changer for me. So taking every thought captive, let's go to number 4 real quick. So ways to do that. Because you have to replace that. Remember those lies that are feeding the fear. And so ways to do that is through your affirmations. If you don't do affirmations daily, I'm going to encourage you to write out like 10 affirmations and start repeating them. Record yourself saying them, write them, do something to start putting that into your brain on a daily basis. Scriptures, if you're a faith-filled person and that's important to you, scripture is a great way to take your thoughts captive. Positive quotes. Guys, there's so many leaders out there. Jim Rohn, we've already talked about some. Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins. I mean, just the list can go on and on and on. But find quotes that are meaningful to you and that really speak the truth about you. And so those are some things I think that you can really use on a daily basis when those thoughts and that fear comes up. And then the last one is to be grateful. And I know that sounds crazy, but when we can start to embrace everything that we face, and when I could finally make the shift and be grateful for my fears, grateful for the lies that I had believed, though I wasn't going to continue to believe them, that's actually allowing us the opportunity to overcome that obstacle. Obstacles are where growth comes. And that's why we can be grateful for the things that come at us that maybe challenge us or push us. Be grateful for your fear, because it's allowing you to grow. If you didn't have it, you wouldn't grow. You would stay the same person. And I heard something at church a couple of weeks ago, guys, that was unbelievable. It was like, the saddest thing is not about trying something and failing. The sad thing is being the same person this time next year that you are today, or in 5 years or 10 years. Guys, I don't want that. And I know you don't. That's why you're on this webinar. That's why you're in a home business, is you don't want your life to look the same in a year. So be grateful for where you are and be grateful for the obstacles. So guys, we're pretty much done. I just want to say, like I said, network marketing is a personal growth vehicle disguised as a business. And it really can unlock your dreams. It can allow you to rise to your full potential and become the very best version of yourself. It can allow you to live into the fullness that you were created for. And I do believe that fear can be eradicated. Now, it may never go away completely, but when we're equipped to deal with it and we understand it, it makes a world of difference. It has changed my life. And that's why I'm so passionate about it. So truthfully tonight, if you're looking for, any ways that we talked about, you can definitely reach out to me on your own and see if there's, I have some specifics. I've read some books and that type of thing that have really helped me. But if you're looking for specific help in your business and you're looking for ways to connect and to really invite people to take a look at what you have in your warm market, your cold market, then I really recommend that you get my prospecting blueprint. And that actually will do two things. It will give you that free video series that I did. It's 3 videos on how to become a top recruiter. It's what I used in my own business to do that. But what it's also going to do is it's going to get you on my list so that you will start to get my blog and you'll get other kind of updates. My intent with my list, guys, and people who are on my list is to pour value into you. It's to help you rise to your full potential, live the life you were created, and really create a limitless life with your business and everything that's important to you. I obviously am sitting behind this computer, can't see your face like I shared, can't hear maybe your aha moments or things that are impacting you tonight. So I would love it if you wouldn't mind hopping over on my fan page. And if you haven't already liked it, it's Emily Quisenberry. It's at facebook.com/Emily Quisenberry fan page. And if you would just hop over there after we get done with the webinar and go like that page, and just leave a comment about maybe what tonight, maybe one nugget you took away, or maybe one shift that it's allowed you to make in your life or your thoughts. I would so appreciate it because I can't, again, see those moments that you're having. And I want to know what's going on in your world and really be there to help and cheer you on. And then the last thing, guys, if you are looking for a way to really expand your business and to maybe learn and grow a little bit more, I have a friend that I would love to recommend that you grab up her free guide. It's her home business survival guide. This is my friend Tanya. And she has been so instrumental with me. She's actually coaching me right now. Guys, I invested in my business about a month ago in a high-end coaching program because I was ready to invest and learn and test and adjust and repeat in this, like I shared with you, more this online world, and really taking what I know offline and transferring it and expanding it online so that I can have a bigger reach. I want nothing more than to help as many people as I can to achieve what they want. And Tanya's been a big part of that. So her home business survival guide. So if you go to emilyquisenberry.com/home business survival guide, you can grab up her free guide on her. It kind of gives you some really great tips. And I specifically love number 4. You got to go check it out because it has really made a difference in my understanding of my business and what it is that I'm doing. I know that kind of sounds crazy after 20 years that I would say that, but the truth is we are never done learning, ever. So I'm going to hop back over. Anybody have any thoughts? Anybody have any questions? I would love to answer questions or just hear kind of what you are thinking. Has this helped? Has this shed any light for you on the idea of fear and what goes into that kind of elusive emotion that we feel? I'm going to grab some water. Any thoughts? Any questions? So, I think the interesting thing is that we can learn something like we've learned tonight. And then it's like, so now what? Now what do I do? Because maybe you had a big aha. Maybe you had a big breakthrough. So then my encouragement is going to be whatever the thing is that's been holding you back, the thing that you've been afraid to do, whether it's pick up the phone and make a phone call, whether it's calling somebody to follow up, or maybe going and presenting the information to somebody, or maybe it's getting a new person started, whatever it is, I'm going to encourage you to go do it. Because you know what? You're not going to fail. You're just going to maybe figure out what doesn't work and then be able to make an adjustment and learn and grow. So that is going to be my call to action to you guys tonight, is take the opportunity, grab my prospecting blueprint. If you're looking for ways to improve your prospecting in your warm market, in your cold market, and learning really what the number one key, I believe, to success is in prospecting and really in our business, grab that up. because it will help you. And maybe that's where your holdup is. Maybe it's on, you're connecting in your warm market or your cold market. So just want to make sure, guys, no questions, no thoughts, no feedback. Well, I just want to tell you guys, I so appreciate you taking time out of your life and really spending this time with me. It means the world to me that you would do that. And, my hope for you is that you will take what you've learned and that you will apply it and that you will go out and test it and that you will notice your results and that you will make adjustments and that you'll repeat. And if you need to get the help, guys, and you need to get a coach, do it. It will be any money I have ever spent on working through these issues and working through my fear and working through the things that are holding me back has been money that I would spend again in a heartbeat. So I'm just grateful for you guys. Thank you, Cindy, for your sweet words. And yes, I will look forward to chatting with you tomorrow. So listen, I hope that everybody goes and has a fantastic night. I am here cheering you on. I'm here helping you be successful. Get on the blog, get on my fan page, and please stop by and say hello. So anyway, guys, go and make it a great night, and I will see you on the next webinar. Bye.